This is the Sports Hit List. By the fans, for the fans.
Honestly, though, guys, I think this is going to be the chatter all year, given what happened during the offseason. Joe, let me start with you. Are there still any sour grapes about what went down as far as not re-signing Juan Soto, or are we all ready to start the season and put that behind as far as Yankee fans are concerned?
For me, I'm already behind it. I've been behind it since the day that he signed, because one thing was clear with Juan Soto's tenure in the Bronx. It was going to be a year unless they paid him the most money. That was point blank, period, set in stone. He made it clear whenever he was asked about his future. That's basically what he said. We'll see in the offseason. So he was always going to sign for the most money. If the Kansas City Royals offered him $2 more than the New York Mets, he would be in Kansas City right now, not in Queens. So it comes down to money. I'm not, boo-hooing about it anymore. I'm ready for the season. We'll see Soto's time with the Mets. Do I still feel a little sad about, only having 1 year and that home run in Cleveland sending us to the World Series? Yeah, I mean, I kind of get nostalgic about that already. It's only been, a couple of months, but it does feel a little weird only having him for one season. But again, I can't be mad at a guy who stayed true to his intentions and wanted the most money. So no, any Yankee fan that's crying over Soto going to the Mets is so insecure with their fandom that I can't help them. I'm sorry, I can't help you. That's on you, not on the Yankees being quote unquote cheap. The Yankees are the third biggest payroll in the entire sport. They're not cheap. They're not cheap.
That being said, Mike, on the flip side, are you still gloating that
I'm gloating.
Are you still?
Since Yankee fans keep throwing out the problem about the money. He was offered more money by 4 other clubs, so he took less money to come to the Mets.
I don't think that's Mike. Do you really think that's true?
I absolutely think it's true. I think the Mets have a culture change, which, unfortunately for me, I'm a Jets fan, I'm an Islanders fan, I'm a Mets fan. All horrible culture.
Why didn't you mention the Knicks? Come on, man.
Well, because listen, Knicks hurt me for many, many years. All right, it was very tough watching them.
And the Mets have it.
And listen, the Knicks right now, that's for another podcast. All right, that's for another day.
Fair.
Right now, the Knicks are on the back burner.
Right, but speaking to Juan Soto, I guess that whole dichotomy of, that whole dynamic of Mets fan versus Yankee fans, and I always say the true diehards, Met fans and Yankee fans, can get along. Is it a casual fan thing that they go back and forth and they chipper? Mike, what are your comments? Because I know me and you, we joke around about it, but is it more so the casuals that are still going, or do the diehards really still be petty about, clearly Juan Soto making it more petty than it already was?
I think it's going to be more petty, because give me this scenario. When has the Mets ever taken a player away from the Yankees? When have we signed somebody that came from the Yankees? It was never like that. Listen, the Yankees were big brother for a very, very long time. I had to live through the 90s and early 2000s as being a Met fan. But listen, that changed now. With the new ownership that came in, I mean, the Mets are going to spend whatever they can to win a championship. I'm happy they're not doing it the way the Dodgers are. I think there are some major repercussions that are going to happen with them deferring money and building these billion-dollar rosters. But listen, it's a new area for us. I think Juan Soto, us getting him from the Yankees, is amazing. He's going to be a huge bat for our lineup. But there's still question marks to fill, which is why a lot of Yankee fans now are saying that they're happy they got rid of him, because now they use that money elsewhere and everything else. But come on, Joe, what's so funny? Let's see.
Yeah, I know, Joe. Look, before you start, your facial reactions throughout Mike talking.
I can't even be serious with these reactions.
It's so priceless. Come on, Joe. Go ahead.
Two things. Number one, the fact that the Mets aren't buying a championship. Stop. Pointless. Just stop, because what's Senga? What's Soto? What happened with Lindor a couple of years ago, giving him the biggest contract at that point to a shortstop? So the Mets being this, little engine that could with homegrown talent.
Nobody said
Stop that.
No, all we're saying is we're not spending like the Dodgers, and thank God you aren't either.
You're close.
I don't think we're that close. No, we're not. They're double the salary.
$60 million is not close, but you're still 2 in payroll. You're not 14th.
What's the Yankees? 3?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not buying a championship also? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that we're not. And I don't have a problem with buying a championship. Good players cost a lot of money, especially in baseball. So there's nothing wrong with buying a championship. If you have the money, spend it. That's how you win, especially.
But they're not spending it. They're deferring it for 10 years. That's not spending it.
Let me say
their
this, right?
payroll is $700. They still spend $1 billion in.
Let me say this, right? We
last
are
year.
in the sports game where teams are going to spend money to win. At the end of the day, right? That's what it comes down to. Now, let me ask this. I guess what's your ceiling, Mike? I guess the first year with Soto, what's your expectations as far as, are you World Series winning the whole thing? Is it making the NLCS like you did last year? What's your ceiling here?
I'll tell you, when we had, was it 22? When we had Scherzer, the whole staff like that really paid to buy that championship. That's what they were going for. And the whole ship sank, right? Didn't work. No expectations the next year. Playoff expectations were way out the window, weren't even close. Let's be a competitive team. Let's see what some young talent comes up. And they surprised us, right? Last year, nobody expected them to get as far as they did. This year, yeah, you're adding a little more pressure now because you signed this $750 million contract. Plus, with the other stuff going on now, getting Pete Alonso back, bringing a lot of the people in. I mean, expectations are going to say World Series, but I'm a realist. I'm a Mets fan my whole life. So realistically, I think playoffs is where we just need to be in the first year. Nobody's saying we win the championship.
That's a cop-out. You got to give me a little bit more than that, in my opinion. I'm sorry. You have to either... Is it they make it to the, like I said, I know it's early and the season has to play out and we have a lot of games to get to, but
here's the deal.
I would have to say, give me.
What's more stacked right now, the NL or the AL?
The NL, I'd have to say.
Right? So it's going to be a harder path to the World Series through the NL. You got to get through the Dodgers. Right. And not only that, you have the Braves, the Phillies. The NL East is a very competitive division, probably one of the top ones, I say, along with the AL East, right? Because we always have kind of those one teams like the Orioles or the Marlins that, are kind of at the bottom of the cellar. But we're in a competitive division, as you guys are.
Right.
And
but again, sorry to cut you, but to be fair, though, last year you made it to the NLCS. So now you're adding a Juan Soto. Shouldn't that be the benchmark at that point? I understand.
We also had Severino, who we lost. We had some other pitchers we lost. I mean, that's my biggest question mark for the Mets right now is our starting rotation.
Joe, let me ask you this on the flip side for the Yanks. I guess what's your benchmark? Made it to the World Series and lost in 5. What's their threshold? Is it?
I think the Mets beat the Yankees to Dodgers to 6, right? You guys lost in 4.
Was it 6?
No. We lost. The Yankees lost in 5.
I know. He's trying to get me. Yeah, it was in 5. Yeah.
It's the mission statement: winning the whole damn thing. You took 15 years to get back to the World Series. Yeah. I understand you lost Juan Soto. I understand Garrett Cole is done for the season. I get that. I understand Giancarlo Stanton. His elbows ceased to function apparently after the World Series. So I get all that. With that being said, you still are the best club in the American League. So you should get back. And if this team is as good as we all think it is, they should win the whole world, the whole thing. So that's the expectation.
I mean, I think you have an easier path, right? Because the Astros
that's not a question. That's not a question.
Astros lost 2 big players, right?
Right. But I mean, it just thinking about not having your top ace, that's a tough task.
We didn't have him for pretty much 2 quarters of the season last year. And they still made the World Series. And look, Luis Gil, he's not going to be healthy. We'll probably see him in June. And the Yankees' strength going into the offseason was starting pitching. It is now probably their biggest weakness because of all the injuries. But again, with how depleted the American League is, the Yankees should make the World Series. Again, I know the Red Sox are making a charge and they will be all in, especially with their really good farm system at the deadline. That doesn't matter. The Yankees nobody else has leapfrogged the Yankees, in my mind, with what they've done in the offseason to this point in the American League. So I don't care about the injuries. Again, they're the best team in the American League.
Mike, do you agree? Would you say?
As I said, I think they have the easiest path to get back to the World Series. Now, it doesn't always mean the best team's going to win. It's 7, right?
But again, I guess you wouldn't agree that they're the best team in the AL.
I would not say they're the best team in the AL right now. Especially with if you had Cole healthy, and I know as much Yankee fans hate Stanton, but he is like your clutch man in October in the playoffs. That's when you want him.
That's changed this year, I think. A lot of because of what he did last postseason and how just incredible he was. A lot of that hate has now shifted to, we'll just see in the playoffs. Like he's one of those guys where he's now become a little bit of a folk hero in a weird way, where a lot of Yankee fans. Yeah, they're frustrated with him for 162, but for the playoffs, the actual real season, the Yankee fans have the most confidence in. It's kind of weird actually, because they have the least confidence in Judge in the playoffs, but the most confidence in him in the regular season, and it's the inverse for Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah.
That being said, so Joe's going World Series and winning it all. Mike's just trying to get to the playoffs. That's my
Listen.
That's what he said, right?
That shows you, Carl. That shows you and I don't want to be, I am not one of the Yankee fans that count the rings and we're always going to be the big brother and the Mets are never going to be, big in this town. I'm not one of those Yankee fans, but that shows you a little snapshot of still, even though the Mets are I believe. If you polled 100 New York baseball fans, I believe the Mets would be the favorites in this town to actually win the World Series because of Soto. But the actual real fan, that shows you that it hasn't changed yet. And the only thing that will change that is if the Mets win.
Absolutely.
Or start to change that.
Thanks for watching the Sports Hit List. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. In fact, do it now.